Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jack. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast now in your ears. As always, getting together to talk baseball. And this week we got not only what's happening with the Dodgers, the Angels, but also a new College World Series champion. Well, for this year anyway. And other stuff that we'll chat about that is all about baseball. Remember, you can find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
On the website, siblingrivalrybb.com, where you can also find all the new AllStar gear. And I'm not sure, a little bit better this year, I think, than last year.
Yeah. I like the colors the colors were off to me last year. And then we saw them in person.
And they were more off.
And they were more off.
Anyway, you can go get that all there via one of the Fanatics links at siblingrivalrybb.com. Big week for both teams, and we will let's get right to it. Let's head to the Ravine.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
So the Dodgers have two series. One means a lot. The other one, not so much, but it's a team that they tend to have issues with. So Dodgers took on the Padres and then the Nationals all at home. So let's start off with San Diego and a 4-game set.
Yeah, 4 games against the Padres in Los Angeles. Big news. We mentioned this last week, but in this first game against the Padres, Shohei was on the mound, and he goes 1 inning, gives up 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, no strikeouts, no home runs. So cool to see him on the mound, and people are referring to him as Superman because he gets off the mound, the umpire checks him, and then he goes and gets all of his stuff on to bat.
Never left the field.
Never leaves.
Doesn't get into it. They are talking, I've heard, that maybe when he pitches, they'll push him down to like third.
Yeah.
And I would say third is because if you don't do it, if he doesn't move to like 3, then it doesn't. Somebody said fourth. I don't think you move him to fourth. You got to move him to 5th or 6th at that point.
Right.
So that way he's not necessarily leading off an inning, or there's less chances of him to lead off an inning. Mm-hmm. So 3's the best spot for him, probably.
Yeah. We'll have to see. He's supposed to be, I think his next start is against the White Sox, so we'll see if the lineup changes,
right.
If Dave does anything with it. But, yeah.
So, well, and we do see another start for him, and we'll talk about that because he does start against the Nationals.
Right.
And then he doesn't it looked like he was having some, I don't know, control issues, not true control issues. You could still tell that, coming up, once he can get back in the groove, he's going to be hard to hit, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. It was very quiet when Shohei pitches. It's very loud at Dodger Stadium. There's been a report, I think it was one of the LA Times reporters took a what do you call them? Anyway, had like a decibel, monitor or whatever, and it was like 95, which I guess is a jackhammer.
Okay.
The sound of like a jackhammer. And I didn't feel this way. I don't know if you felt this way when we went into the Dodgers game, when we saw the Mets, we saw them play the Mets. People said their ears were ringing after the game, but I don't know if that's because they won. We didn't have that because they lost. I don't know. But anyway, but when Shohei pitches, it's very, like Kershaw said, it's almost like it's a golf match. People are very quiet. They're watching. I mean, not obviously cheering, but when he pitches on the mound, you're not hearing the extra noise, fan noise, I guess. This was the 12th time that he's batted in the leadoff spot and started a game on the mound, which we just mentioned. And he's the 4th starting pitcher to bat leadoff spot since 1900, forming an exclusive club with Cesar Tovar, 1968, Al Dark, 1953, and Jim Jones, 1901. All in September. Those happened, and they only did that one time, and he's done this 12 times. Anyway, this game, the Dodgers end up winning this game 6-3. Shohei on the mound, at the plate, 2 for 4, a double, 2 RBIs. Andy Pages was 1 for 3 in this game with a double. Freddie Freeman, you can't see it by his batting average, by his, what's going on, because he is still getting hits, but he's struggling. His last home run was Mother's Day. So that's a long time for Freddie to not get a home run. And he had 2 strikeouts in that game. In this game, this is where the drama started. Dylan Cease was pitching, and Andy Pages was hit by Dylan Cease. It was not an intentional by Dylan Cease. He didn't hit him intentionally, but Andy stared him down and was like, hey, what's going on here? Nothing happened between the two of them. And Andy Pages did say after the game, yeah, I knew it wasn't intentional. I got upset, and, I guess, is he like Ricky Ricardo with a Cuban temper?
Maybe.
But he said, I got upset. I let it get the best of me.
No, Dylan, you can't be in the show.
That's right. And he just stared at him. But it was Mike Schilt, who is going to play a big role as we continue in this series, who, as he gets to first base, looks at Andy Pages and says, who the F do you think you are? Which Andy said, I didn't see that. I saw it later, but we'll see. He obviously saw it later. So first game, 6-3, little bit of drama, little bit of chirping from San Diego, as always. Machado, the lead chirper. Second game, it's a bullpen game again. Starts off with Jack Dreyer, and the Dodgers win this game, hold on to win 8-6. It was tied 6-6. Will Smith, hero of the game. He was 3 for 4 in this game. 2 RBIs, a double, and a go-ahead home run. And that was a 13-pitch at-bat. 13 pitches, and he just kept fouling them off, and the 13th one was a home run. But in this game, Fernando Tatis was hit by, I believe it was Trevino. Yeah. By Lou Trevino. And that was and then Ohtani was hit by Vasquez. Now, the only player in this scenario between Tatis and Vasquez, and Iglesias was also hit later in the game in the 7th, but that wasn't anything. Not intentional for Tatis.
He said, OMG.
He did. That's right. But Ohtani's hit was intentional. That wasn't intentional. He threw at him. Dave Roberts was ejected from the game And after during the third inning, after Tatis and Ohtani were hit by the pitch, and warnings, the umpires gave warnings to both benches. And that was after Ohtani got hit. And Dave Roberts comes out and wants to know why. The umpire's like, no, you don't get to know why. We gave you a warning. You need to go back to your dugout. Dave did not go back to his dugout. And that's when the third base umpire, Trip Gibson, who sounds like a golf caddy, he ejects Roberts. Not the home plate umpire, the third base. And I think there's something going on with Trip Gibson and maybe just the Dodgers, because he's the one who called interference on Max Muncy in that Mets game when they were in New York. And he's also had some questionable calls since. Anyway, so Dave is ejected from the game. And like I said, the Dodgers go on and win this game. All right. Next game. Dodgers win the game 4-3 with a pinch hit walk-off home run by Will Smith. And who is hit by a pitch? Because every night someone's hit by a pitch in these games. Andy Pages. Now, I need to go back because to that second game, because I said Mike Schilt asked the question, who do you think you are? To Andy Pages, and Andy Pages in that game goes 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So I think he told Mike Schilt, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. So, but in this third game, 4-3, Andy Pages hit by a pitch. He takes it, runs to the base. Emmett Sheehan is on the mound. First start since having Tommy John surgery in May of 2024. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, and had 6 strikeouts. And then Justin Warbleski came in for the remainder of the game, 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. So it was good to see Emmett Sheehan back on the mound. And he has been, and people have questioned this, he has been sent back down to Oklahoma City. And you think, well, why? We need him in the starting rotation. You have the majority of your starting rotation are now on the 60-day IL. And they said, well, we're getting ready to go to Colorado. We want to make sure we have a good bullpen while we're in Colorado. And we want Emmett to get more starts in Oklahoma City. So, Andy Pages, again, 1 for 2 in this game with an RBI and a double. All right. Last game. Dodgers lose this game. They did try to come back, but this is where everything blows up and goes off the rails with the Dodgers. And things have been simmering, right? You had the hit by pitch, the ejections, and just of Dave Roberts. In this game, Yamamoto is on the mound. Once again, poor guy gets no run support. And I think it's like he needs to go. I said this last week. I say it again. I don't know. He needs to, like, you know, in your elementary school and you're like, do you like me? Check yes or no. He needs to leave those notes around in the clubhouse. Like, do you like me? Because no run support. Not a bad outing, but goes 6 1/3 innings, gives up 7 hits, 3 runs, no walks, which is good, 5 strikeouts, does give up a home run. And then Trevino comes in, pitches 2/3 of an innings, doesn't give up any hits, no runs. And then this is when it all started. This guy, I hadn't heard of him before, but he was called up from Oklahoma City. His name's Jack Little. It was his MLB debut. And this poor guy was kind of just left out there. 2 innings pitched. He gives up 4 hits, 2 runs, had a walk, did have one strikeout, but Fernando Tatis was in the batter's box and he was hit by a pitch by Jack Little. And of course he flops on the ground and he acts as though he's a fish out of water, and the bench is clear. So, I mean, I guess it's a memorable MLB debut. You got the benches cleared because of something you did. Not intentional, again, but benches cleared. And the main reason the benches cleared is because Mike Shildt came out yelling and screaming, and he's looking at the Dodger dugout. And he's looking at Dave Roberts. And Dave Roberts is like, you got a problem with me? Kind of thing. Because I think Shildt thought he ordered it. Did you did you order this? I'm just thinking of A Few Good Men. Did you?
That's right. You're right. I did.
That's right. And
I ordered the code red.
That's right. Did you order the code red? And Dave Roberts like, I didn't. But when he's looking at me, it became personal, and it was really between Shildt and Dave Roberts. And Dave Roberts did bump him, and the teams came in, and they were just, all standing there, and there probably were some words, but it was mainly the two managers going at it. And so Shildt is ejected. Dave Roberts is ejected from the game. Robert Suarez comes in, and he hits Shohei. And this is an intentional hit. In this series, the only player that was intentionally hit both times was Shohei Ohtani. This time he's hit up near the shoulder. The first time it was near in his thigh. And Robert Suarez is immediately ejected. And as Ohtani's running down first base, he's waving off his team. Like, don't come. Because Clayton Kershaw, he had one leg over the railing. He was ready to go. Like, I am ready. But Shohei's like, no, don't worry about it. And then he goes over as they're waiting because they're, they eject Suarez and then they got to get somebody in. And he's talking to Arise. I think Arise was like picking his nose, and Shohei's like, don't do that. That's gross. And then like slaps his hand away from his nose. And then he goes over and talks to OMG Iglesias, because all of a sudden I can't think of what his name is, his first name, but
Jose.
Jose.
And they were teammates with the Angels at one time.
Right. And so he's talking to them, and you can see the other Padres, like they're looking like, oh, what's going on? And he and Iglesias are laughing and joking, and and that just shows how Shohei is just
different,
heads and shoulders above any other ball player. I mean, we have there are good baseball players, but
while he's doing that, Manny Machado's out on the mound pleading Robert Suarez's case.
Right, exactly.
Why are you throwing him out? That's not right, and it's just like, come on, man. You knew what was coming.
Yeah, he probably ordered it. Manny was like,
Manny was the one.
Man, because Shildt was ejected. He, no, I don't know. I don't know who. But, so after this game, Roberts and Shildt get 1 game suspension. And I heard that there were MLB officials in Shilt's office on the day he, because I think managers served their suspensions like right away. Mm-hmm. And so this was Friday. So last Friday. So he served his suspension that game. And there were MLB officials in his office watching him to make sure that he didn't have any part in managing the game or anything like that. So I'm assuming that Dave Roberts maybe had the same thing. I don't know. I mean, why even show up to work, right? If you're suspended.
Right.
But anyway, and then Robert Suarez was given a 3-game suspension, and he had appealed that suspension. So, the Dodgers will meet again with the Padres in August, and Manny Machado already, said when after Tatis, because he got hit in, it's like the arm, wrist area, and he said, they better hope that x-ray comes back negative. They better light a candle. And it's like, okay, so what are you gonna do? Because I think immediately before they even play in August, there will be warnings issued to both benches.
Yeah. Well, the next night on Friday, the Padres play they go home. They're playing the Royals, and Tatis gets hit in about the same spot again.
Yeah.
And was that because the Royals are like, well, we're gonna stick up for the Dodgers and throw at him too? No, it's got to be something in the way that he hits. I've not paid that much attention to him, but there's got to be something to where he's at, and trying to pitch him inside, and he's just getting hit.
Yeah, that's what and the benches didn't clear. He didn't. The Royals didn't run out and. Well, and Schilt wasn't there to, yell at people.
Right.
But, I think there must be something about where he stands, or his, what is when they're doing their game planning and they're pitching, it's like, okay, we're going to pitch him inside, or there are certain players that's how you pitch. And I think it's more a Tatis issue than intentional.
Right.
For him. So.
I agree.
So we'll see. So the Dodgers win the series at home versus the Padres, stay in first place. It's a good series overall. Obviously, lots of drama, which people love. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed it myself. I was yelling at the TV too. But we'll see how they are in August and how things go. Now, the Nationals come into town, and the Nationals, when the Dodgers were in D.C. earlier in the season, the Nationals took 2 out of the 3 games. So the Dodgers struggled against them, and that was one of the things I had said about the Nationals was, after they played the Padres, and especially because it was a tension-filled series, how are they going to respond to the Nationals? And in the first game, it's Kershaw Day. He's on the mound, and he pitches 5 innings, gives up 5 hits and 2 runs. He gives up 2 home runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Not his best on the mound that we have seen from especially if we looked at his last start where he went 7 innings. But the Dodgers do win this game 6-5. And Miguel Rojas was 2 for 3 in this game. 2 RBIs, had a double and a home run to help the Dodgers edge out the Nationals. The next game, not the Dodgers, not the best for Dustin May or for the Dodgers. Dodgers lose this game 7-3. Dustin May pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, did have 5 strikeouts, but 3 home runs he gave up. And the Nationals hit 5 home runs in this game, and it's the first road game that the Nationals had won in the month of June. And they were just like hitting, it seemed like one guy get up. In fact, it did. James Wood was, who is probably going to be the AllStar rep for the Nationals. hit a home run, and then I'm trying to think who the next guy was, but
Luis Garcia Jr.
Yes, Luis Garcia Jr. back-to-back home runs, and Wood's home run was the longest home run hit at Dodger Stadium this season. It was like 451 feet. So, massive home run there. And, yeah, the Teoscar had a home run in this game, as well as Andy Pages. So, like, okay, next game, who's going to win the series? And the Dodgers just, I don't know, but they just came out. And it wasn't until after, I think they got into the Nationals bullpen. And Shohei, though, the big news, Shohei's back on the mound for this game and pitches 1 inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. And I think he looked better, a little more polished than when he came out against the Padres.
Yeah, and I also think that part of it too was that the Nationals have a less skill in some spots that than the he faced the top of the Padres order, which is much better than the top of the Nationals order.
Yeah, that's true. And the Nationals they swing a lot. So that could, but that's another good, a good outing, another good sign, I guess, of Shohei on the mound.
Yeah.
After that, Ben Kasparius comes out. He pitches the bulk of, and actually wins this game. He pitches the bulk of the game with 5 innings. He gave up 3 hits and 3 runs with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Anthony Banda comes out. Lou Trevino comes out. They give up a hit. One gives up 1 hit. I think Banda gave up a hit. Trevino gives up 2 hits. And none of them give up runs. Neither one. Max Muncy, who there were, and I know I was part of what are we going to do with Max? Max is broken. Something's wrong with Max. He needs something. Well, he goes to the eye doctor. He gets his glasses. Still, obviously things got a little bit better for him. But then on Sunday, he hits a grand slam. I mean, and the Dodgers are losing at that point 3-0. He hits the go-ahead grand slam for his 200th home run. And then in the 7th inning, the Dodgers bring 7 runs across the plate, and 3 of those runs were courtesy of Max Muncy with his 3-run home run that he hit, number 201. So he was 2 for 4 in that game, 7 RBIs. I think hopefully that wasn't just a one-off, right? It wasn't just a one-off show. But he looked really good, and you could tell he was happy. He was fired up about those home runs.
Yeah, it was good 7 RBIs for him. Shohei with 5 RBIs on his own.
Right, I was going to say, if you looked, when he pitched against the Padres, he was 2 for 4, had a double, 2 RBIs. He pitches against the Nationals, he's 2 for 4, has 5 RBIs, a triple, and a home run. So I think he likes to pitch and hit.
I think so too.
Yeah. So the problem in this game is Kike Hernandez coming out of the bullpen to pitch in the 9th. He was in the bullpen. He was warming up. Dave Roberts said, I knew he was coming in. I didn't know he was coming in from the bullpen. And he shouldn't have. So the Dodgers are up at this point 13-3. The Dodgers win this game 13-7 because Kike Hernandez pitched a third of an inning, gives up 2 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, and now his ERA is 15.19. So I think we need to see the end. I like Kike. He's a good player, especially postseason. He thrives in October. He's great for the clubhouse, for the dugout, but he's not a pitcher. And this is the second time where they've been in a situation where they were ahead. They put him in, and he gives up all kinds of, crazy runs where they still win the game. But if they had left him in, because they brought in Alex Vesia to close it out, but say they had left him in, which would have been dumb, but they could have lost the game.
Right.
And as much as I like Kike, that's it. You're done. You don't get to it's like he's pitched 3 times. The first time he pitched in San Diego, I want to say the first time, but where it was kind of controversial, he pitched in San Diego, but they were down. The Dodgers were down like by 11 runs or something like that. In that situation, the Dodgers are down. But when you're winning, why are you bringing in Kike Hernandez? I know you want to save arms, but this is a Sunday game. They have Monday off, and they're heading to Colorado. I get it. You would like to be able, in an optimal world, you would like to be able to give your bullpen 2 days rest. But we just can't have Kike pitch anymore. He needs to retire.
Well, he did try something different. He came out of the bullpen. He wasn't wearing the pitcher's helmet thing.
Right. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe he needs the pitcher's helmet.
It didn't work last time either, though. So he was trying something different. He was trying something different.
Well, I would like to see Kike anywhere else on the field except on the mound. So, yeah, it's the Dodgers win the series, and they head to Colorado for 3 games, and then they go to Kansas City for a weekend series. Player of the week for the Dodgers. Do you have one?
Shohei.
That's what I was going to say and what I am going to say. Shohei Ohtani. Not only for his performance on the mound, but his performance at the plate, but his also showing that there can be peace in baseball. Real quick update for the Dodgers on Tyler Glasnow. He was on a rehab assignment in Oklahoma City. Looked pretty good. Did have 3 walks, but he was able to get out of that inning with no run scoring. Roki Sasaki is back throwing, so that is good news. And Tony Gonsolin has been transferred to the 60-day IL. Haven't heard if he's back up throwing yet or not, or what is going on there, if he's playing catch or what. But I think that they put him on the 60-day IL because that gives him more room to work on, calling people up and sending people up, sending people down kind of thing. So, and that's it. That's it for the Dodgers. We'll see how they do in Colorado.
Let's check in on the Angels. Angels, after getting swept by Baltimore, show up in the Bronx to take on the Yankees. The Yankees also came off of a weekend series of getting swept by the Red Sox. So what was going to happen? Are the Yanks going to take out their frustrations on the Angels? Are the Angels going to roll over? Are they going to play them tough? Because a lot of times the Angels do play the Yankees tough. So the Angels and the Yankees in their last game versus Boston shut out. Angels and Yankees go into innings in game number 1. Neither one of them. I guess both of them were in that hangover from getting swept and like, what do? We don't know how to play baseball anymore.
We forgot. It took them 11 innings.
And it took them 11 innings, and finally a run by the Hales, and we're able to stop the Yankees from doing anything in the bottom of the 11th. It was a double that by Nolan Chanuel that drove in the ghost runner Christian Moore, who made his debut in Baltimore, but had a better series versus the Yanks as a hometown boy. Returned and grew up I think he grew up in the Bronx. Christian Moore did, and had the family there and everything. So he ends up scoring. The ghost runner scores, and they win it 1-0. So that's 2 days in a row that the Yankees have been shut out. Game number 2 of the 4-game set. Guess what happened?
Another shutout?
Yeah, and it was the Yankees again. 3 straight days of shutout. Angels able to, they didn't have to wait till the last. There was no innings this time. They scored 3 in the first couple of innings and then 1 more in the 7th to win this one 4-0.
Well,
you had...
I was going to say, another good outing by the bullpen. And a good outing by your pitchers, too. I mean, in that first game, you had Jose Soriano go 7 innings. Kyle Hendricks in this game go 6 innings.
Mm-hmm. So the pitching was pretty good overall. Stopped them. They stopped the Yanks. And you would just think that when you've got probably the best offensive player in baseball, he went 0 for 4 in the second game in Aaron Judge. Held him to 4 hits in that game, and they held the Mets to, actually they had more hits the first game, 8 hits, and they held them to only 4 in that second game.
And I just want to correct Christian Moore, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, okay.
Yeah, the other B.
The other B in the area. Brooklyn,
Yeah.
Bronx, couldn't remember. But, yeah, he was. He's from New York, and comes in. Game number 3, not a shutout. But another victory for the Angels. They're able to hold on 3-2 and take out the Yankees. So they win the series there. Christian Moore gets a hit in that game, and home runs by Nolan Chanuel and Joe Adell to help power the win.
And once again, the bullpen, Burke, Neris, Zephyr John, Brogdon, and Kenley Jansen hold them hitless. Kohanowitz started that game, and he gave up 2 home runs to Cody Bellinger and Jazz Chisholm Jr.
The only 2 hits and 2 runs.
Yep.
There. Brock Burke did give up 1 hit, but like you said, the rest of the bullpen stopped them.
So I guess I should have said runless. They held
them
didn't have
runless.
hitless, but they didn't give up any runs.
Sure. All right, so we head into the final game of the series, and it was bound to happen. The Angels were not able to sweep them, so it wasn't back-to-back sweeps for the Yankees. Carlos Rodon having a pretty decent game against the Angels. Tyler Anderson, he goes 6, gives up 4 runs on 8 hits. Sam Bachman and Hector Neris also giving up another 3 runs, and they lose this one 7-3. One thing that did happen in this game, Mike Trout with a home run, Joe Adell with a home run, and as well as Taylor Ward. And I didn't mention it, but I think it was in the first game of the series. Christian Moore got his first home run as in the major leagues.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the first game. I think it must have been the second game.
Yeah,
But
I
he
think
did
the first
hit a
game
home
got a
run.
triple.
He did hit a home run in one of the games to. It must have been the third game. No, I thought he hit a home run.
He hit a home run against the Astros.
Oh, that's where it was. Duh. He comes home, gets his first home run. It was the triple
Yeah.
that was his big hit there.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then, so they win the series versus the Yanks, and head home for a weekend series versus the Asterix. Yeah, not the same results. Although, they didn't play bad. They played them tough. Did go to Zennings. So the Asterix scored 2 in the first. The Angels would tie it up in the 7th after scoring 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th. And then they just weren't able to stop the Asterix, who score in the top of the 10th, and the Angels weren't able to score.
Yeah, it was a wild pitch that they were able to score on. So that's the worst kind of run. It's a wild pitch.
And it was this first game versus the Asterix that Christian Moore hits his first home run, major league homer, and ties it up. Joe Adele also with a home run, and he's on pace for like mid-30s home runs. We'll see if that happens. Yusei Kikuchi pitched overall pretty well. Gave up 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 9. Reed Detmers threw 1 and walked 2, struck out 1, but didn't give up any runs or hits. And then Kenley Jansen gave up a couple of hits but no runs, and it was Hunter Strickland who would give up the go-ahead run for the Asterix. And they moved on to play each other again on Saturday.
Better outcome.
Yeah, different outcome. This time, the Asterix were held to 1 run over all 9 innings. They scored their 1 in the 4th, and it was the Halos that were able to score 9 runs. 2 home runs by Logan O'Hoppe, who'd been in a cold stretch. Finally got those. Luis Rengifo with a home run and a couple of doubles from Zach Neto would help push them on.
And I think another good start by Jose Soriano, who goes 6 2/3 innings. Gave up 3 hits, a run, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts in that game. And again, the Angels bullpen comes in, Neris and Bachman. No hits, no runs.
Yep. Yeah, those 10 strikeouts by Soriano really good. And holding down on the walk as well. So we go to the final game. Who's going to take this series? This is the rubber match for between the AL West leading Asterix and the Angels. They've been hanging around in 3rd place. And it was a interesting game. You had the Angels up by 2 going into the top of the 5th. And I kind of thought it was my fault because I turned on the game. And I had seen, just like on the app, that it was 2-0. I turned on the game, and as I'm turning it on, it shows 4 runs being scored by the Asterix, and it's 4-2. And I'm like, oh, man. So I turned it off. I checked back again, and it's 5-4. I was like, awesome. And but I didn't turn it on. I was watching the College World Series. And then the Asterix back-to-back innings score 4 runs each. And that's what they would end up with, 8 runs. Problem is, Angels, even though they tried, they did score 2 more. They couldn't get enough to take out the Asterix. The Asterix win this one 8-7. and walk away with this particular series. Kyle Hendricks, not as great of a game as he's had in the past couple. Just goes 5 innings, gives up 5 runs on 8 hits, only strikes out 2, gives up 2 home runs. Hunter Strickland also given up 3 runs, and then Connor Brogdon was able to get 2 innings out and no runs, no hits. Brock Burke gives up 2 hits, but the Angels not able to stop them or to score again, and end up losing this one, and like I said, and the series.
Well, and in this game, I mean, I think they've been playing competitively. The Astros scored all of their runs in the 5th and 6th innings. Mm-hmm. They 4 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th. The Angels scored in the 5th, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th. But as you mentioned, it wasn't enough. If they had, they got 1 run in the 9th, and they needed 2.
Yeah, that
3.
run in the 9th was Zach Neto's first ever.
I guess 2. Yeah.
Pinch hit home run.
Yeah, and who I forgot? I have totally forgotten about Josh Hader, that he is an asterisk. He got the save in this game, his 19th. But I don't know. I was like, oh, yeah. Forgot about him.
I saw that. I said, oh, there's Hader. How about that? Sure enough. So the Angels take the series from the Yankees, lose the series to the Asterisks, and wait for Boston to drive up from down from San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And then they have their shot with the Nationals coming through at the end of the week. Any player of the game? Or player of the week, I mean?
I do have a player of the week, but before we do player of the week, I want to mention Ron Washington. Good wishes, best wishes go out to him with his health. They announced that he's going to be out of the dugout managing because he has some health issues. Don't know what those health issues are, but I did see him in the ballpark chowing down on some wings, so I think he might be okay in that. His appetite is good, but hopefully whatever, that they can figure out what's going on with him and he can get back in the dugout.
Yeah, Ray Montgomery, the bench coach, he took over. I'm not sure about. I mean, I don't doubt that Wash has some kind of issues, but there's always been a thing with Ray Montgomery that kind of was like suspicious, because Perry assigned him to be the bench coach when Joe Madden was there. And Madden was not, he didn't want him there. Mm-hmm. Because Montgomery hadn't been a coach before.
Right.
He's an analytics guy. He worked in the analytics department. Not that he hasn't been there for enough seasons now that he can't, figure out how to run things, but it almost feels like, if something happens and Wash doesn't come back, that's who they're going to sign. And it's almost as if this is something that Perry wants to do.
So maybe there might be something, but it may not be as severe, or where he's going to be out indefinitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're, what it is that they noticed. If this was one way to do it and then find a way to kind of get Wash to take himself out. I don't know.
Or they said, hey, we noticed that you don't look like you're feeling very well. Here, go to this doctor. Like when you're in an accident, go to this chiropractor.
Yeah. The Yankees doctors looked at him when he was in New York, and they cleared him to come back home. But it was right after that they decided.
Yeah, interesting. I guess we'll have to keep an eye out on that. That's, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. But
I don't know. That's just,
yeah,
it may not be anything. It may just be conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but that's what's fun. Conspiracy theories are fun. What can we put out there?
Sure.
Okay, so player of the week, I'm going to go with Jose Soriano. He had 2 good outings, 13 and 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 9 hits, only 1 run, had 4 walks, but 16 strikeouts. So I'm going to go with Jose.
I agree. All right, time to hit the road around baseball, hop in the bullpen cart and see what's happening. And as always, we start that off with the players of the week, MLB style.
All right, we're going to start in the American League with who else could it be but Seattle's Cal Raleigh. He was in this past week, 417 batting average, a 1.606 OPS, which I think is the highest OPS, even higher than Aaron Judge, who always seems between Aaron Judge and Ohtani. 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, and just a little bit, some more stats about Cal. He has hit home runs in 4 straight games, the first time in his career. 6 home runs in his last 6 games, and 5 home runs in 4 games versus the Twins this season. So he's on pace to hit 60-plus home runs, and he's also surpassed Johnny Bench's record of home runs hit before the AllStar break. So he's on a tear. I'm not sure, just got some baseball fairy dust sprinkled on him before the season started because he's out there playing and Seattle's loving it. And then in the National League, Arizona's Eugenio Suarez, 440 batting average, a 1.464 OPS, 4 home runs, and 10 RBIs. So that's a bright spot for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this week, one of the big things to watch this last weekend was the Red Sox showing up in San Francisco just a few days after the trade of Rafael Devers to the Giants. The Giants took the series 2-1. Not a great series for Devers. He did hit a home run, 2 RBIs, just batted 167 on that against his old team. So we'll see how that changes up.
Yeah, he was like 2 for 12.
But
yeah, like 2 for 12 at the plate, I think is.
Yeah.
0 for 5 in that first.
Yeah, he was 0 for 5 the first game, and then he had the home run in the second game. Struck out 3 times.
So the Athletics, who have been without a city, broke ground on the stadium in Las Vegas. It will be at the southeast corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana Avenue, and it should be ready opening day of 2028. It's going to have a 33,000 seat capacity. They're in this ballpark. It will be the closest seats to home plate, and they will have the smallest foul territory of any MLB park. It will be fully enclosed by a roof. Makes sense. Don't want to play in 120-degree weather in Las Vegas during the summer. That will, there will be direct sunlight, but it will be, the glare will be, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's going to be.
They have some kind of, glass that's, it's built a certain way to help, to break down that, yet still provide the light needed for day games and to grow the grass.
Yes. From home plate, the see-through dome, you will be able to see a view of the Las Vegas Strip. You'll be able to see New York, and the MGM casino. And I'm trying to think what the other casino is there, but you'll be able to see all of that. So it sounds really cool, but it looks like that will not be happening, will not be ready until 2028. But at least they have broken ground in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so now we know it's going to happen. It's before it was like, well, we don't know. It still was kind of up in the air, but
Right. And if you have not been voting for Andy Pages for All-Star Game, you don't have that much longer. You got to vote for him. Right now, phase 1 is, the clock's ticking, because right now you have the overall vote getters is between the Yankees' Aaron Judge, who has 2,699,483 votes, and the Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani, who has 2,521,718 votes. They're separated by fewer than 178,000 votes as of the latest ballot update. If he maintains his lead through the end of phase 1, which he will become the first player to repeat as a leading vote getter since Alex Rodriguez did it in 2007, 2008. But Andy Pages, I don't know if he's going to make it or not. He's been sitting outside the bubble. He's been number 7, so I guess we'll find out. I think that voting ends today, so we will see.
yeah, I don't think if he doesn't get voted in, I don't think he's going to make it, just because there's going to be so many Dodgers. So
yeah, I mean, it would be really cool to see Andy get voted in. All right, so American League, just looking at the top vote getters in the American League. First base is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Blue Jays, and second is Paul Goldschmidt. And second base, Gleyber Torres of the Tigers for second base, not second place, second base. Gleyber Torres is leading the voting, and number 2 is Jackson Holliday of the Orioles, but Gleyber has quite a bit of a lead on Jackson Holliday. Shortstop, Jacob Wilson of the A's, and number 2 is Bobby Witt Jr. of the Royals. Third base, Jose Ramirez of the Guardians is pretty much running away in that number 1 spot in this first phase of voting. In the outfield, you have Aaron Judge, Riley Green, Javi Baez, Mike Trout, Stephen Kwan, and Cody Bellinger at number 6. Catcher, Cal Raleigh, who else? And designated hitter, Ryan O'Hearn of the Orioles with 937,000 votes over the Yankees' Ben Rice, who's number 2, who has 409,000 votes. In the National League, the first base, Freddie Freeman has over 2 million votes. Pete Alonso's number 2 with 1.5 million. Second base, Ketel Marte is leading in that area, in that voting. Tommy Edman, who's never been an All-Star, is number 2 for the Dodgers. And then shortstop, Francisco Lindor is number 1. Mookie Betts is number 2. Third base, Manny Machado is number 1. Max Muncy is number 2. In the outfield, the top 6, Pete Crow Armstrong, Teoscar Hernandez, Kyle Tucker, Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, Corbin Carroll, and that's the top 6. And number 7, as we mentioned, Andy Pages. And I'll just say number 8, Fernando Tatis Jr., and then James Wood at 9. The catcher, Will Smith of the Dodgers, has over 2 million votes. He is very deserving. He's been excellent this season. Carson Kelly of the Cubs is number 2 with 700 769,860 votes. And then, of course, the designated hitter, who else could it be but Shohei Ohtani in the number 1 spot. And number 2 is Rafael Devers. So we'll see how it all shakes out. There's the second part of the voting starts, and then I think it's the top 2 vote getters, unless you are you have the most votes, then you're automatically in.
Right.
So we'll see how it checks out, and but I'm hoping that Andy, that the Dodger fans and other fans of baseball can get Andy Pages across the finish line.
Yeah, that would be cool. He definitely is deserving. So, have you heard of Jacob Misrowski?
I've heard the name.
Kid's 6'7", throws fire, and is a Brewer. And
Yeah.
came out of his first game because he had an injury. What would you think his injury was?
I think I know. Didn't he twist his ankle or?
Right, but that's not what you would expect to hear somebody's throwing in the hundreds.
No, you would think, his arm, his elbow, or.
Right. Nope.
He threw so hard that his arm fell off.
Right? Nope. Just twisted his ankle and was out. He looks like he's going to be going up against Paul Skeens. So
Yes. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch the pitchers in that game. Not sure we want to watch the rest of Paul Skeens' team, but definitely him. So
for sure.
yeah, I saw he was. It was just kind of a misstep. One of those, you're walking and and you just kind of your ankle kind of gives out, or you just step the wrong way. But nothing to put him on the IL.
Nope, that was good. I was like, oh, when I saw IL, then I thought that, and then they said, no, he twisted his ankle. I was like, oh, okay. That's reasonable then.
Yeah.
That could happen. I truly expected he was going to go down with a shoulder or an elbow or something issue. When you're throwing that hard, that much consistently. So why don't we go from there right into the Wheel of IL?
Okay, let's do it. All right, so Wheel of IL in Arizona, Gabriel Moreno has a hairline fracture in his right pointer finger. So he's on the IL. And then Arizona's Corbin Carroll, who was number 6 in the All-Star voting, has a fractured wrist. And not sure when, how long he'll be out with that. Braves' Chris Sale is out on the 15-day IL with a fractured rib cage, on the left side. Angels' Jorge Soler is on the IL with a back injury, back strain. The Mets' Jesse Winker is on the 10-day IL with an oblique injury.
Oh.
And then you go from the Mets, you go from Queens, go to the Bronx. Ryan Yarbrough, pitcher for the Yankees, has a right oblique strain.
So we're covering all sides.
All sides. And St. Louis catcher Ivan Herrera has a grade 2 strain hamstring. In Texas, Jake Berger has left side tightness. And Tyler Malley has right shoulder fatigue. So they're not sure. He's on the 15-day IL, but they're not sure how long he will be out for. And then wrapping it up in Toronto, Anthony Santander with a shoulder injury. And that's the Wheel of IL this week.
So, big news out of Omaha. We have a champion.
And it came a lot quicker. I thought that the series could go the full 3. especially after Coastal Carolina said their players said in the press conference before the series started, was they were asked, what do you think about LSU? And he said, we don't think much of them. Well, apparently LSU didn't think much of Coastal Carolina because they beat them in 2 games in Omaha. First game was 1-0. Second game was 5-3. And in the second game, there were some fireworks.
Yes, there was.
Kevin Schnall, is that how you say his last name?
I think so.
And the first base coach, Matt Schilling of Coastal Carolina, they were both ejected at the bottom of the first inning. Kind of the same thing that happened with Dave Roberts. They got a warning because they were arguing balls and strikes, and you're not supposed to argue balls and strikes. And the umpire, Angel Campos, who has got some controversy because he is an MLB umpire, or was, but supposedly had been fired by MLB, and now is an umpire for the NCAA. People are like, why would you get an umpire who was fired by MLB? Anyway, he told him, listen, you got a warning. The coach walks onto the field, kind of same thing as Dave Roberts, like, no, you don't get to walk out on the field. I gave you a warning. And he also said some very colorful language, some motivational buzzwords, and he got tossed.
Of course.
The funniest thing, which I think is a great quote, there was another umpire who came in. He tripped, and you can see it on the video. He trips over Campos's foot, falls down, and he tried to blame it on Chanel, and said, that he pushed him or he, bumped him. And his quote after the game was, "I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism."
Or lack thereof.
Right, exactly. The Chanticleers do try to come back in that game, in that second game, but it wasn't enough. LSU wins their 8th overall College World Series title. It's the second most among all Division I programs. They are 4 behind the University of Southern California Trojans' 12 titles. This is the second title that LSU has won under head coach Jay Johnson, and the SEC's 6th consecutive title. And that wraps it up in Omaha.
Yep. Till next year. And last week we thought, we were right on the verge. We thought, Arkansas might be able to do it. And it was LSU that was able to come back to make their way into the final.
Yeah, they came back in that 9th inning.
Yep.
And should have known better. But it was, LSU and I don't know. I mean, I think obviously LSU they're a big baseball powerhouse. A lot of MLB players. I mean, foremost, you think Alex Bregman, he went to LSU, but there's others that have played there and are now in the MLB. And also, as we're looking at some of those guys that were pitching, and playing in the College World Series, we're going to see their names come up in the draft.
All right, that will wrap up this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. As always, you can find us on our Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And, of course, on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. And we're always happy to have you stop by there. Check out the Fanatics link to go see some of the Lights Out jerseys. I called them midnight jerseys last time. They're lights out. Plus, like I said, the AllStar gear is up there. And you can get some LSU National Championship gear as well. So until next time, make sure you check out some live baseball, whether you watch it on TV, head out to a game, even if it's Little League. And don't forget to swing away.